very warm welcome to Daily Dispatch, a show that gives you all the latest news and updates from the digital ecosystem. I'm Priyasha. Thank you very much for logging in. Time now to get you all the top news stories that we've been tracking for you this evening. Well, first up, homegrown consumer electronics company Boat has raised close to 50 crore rupees in equity funding from Qualcomm Ventures. This is Qualcomm Ventures' first major investment in India after it backed Reliance Jio in 2020. In January this year, Boat had also raised about $100 million from Warburg Pincus at a valuation of around 2,000 crore rupees. Well, moving on to the second headline of the day, MSME-focused fintech startup M1 Exchange has raised $10 million in a funding round led by Amazon India. Now, the company plans to expand its MSME financing network deeper within India and also invest in technology-driven models for supply chain financing. Now, M1 Exchange had earlier raised as much as $4.5 million from BNext and Mayfield in December 2020. Well, fuel delivery platform Fuel Buddy has raised about 12.5 crore rupees from investors. Now, in September 2020, it had raised about 17 crore rupees in seed funding from promoter SK Narwar. Now, Fuel Buddy offers complete supply chain solutions using technology and cloud computing, enabling customers to use advanced analytics to control and monitor data. Well, moving on to the final headline of the day, it's a deal done. E-commerce marketplace Flipkart has acquired online travel tech company ClearTrip. Under these terms of the agreement, ClearTrip will continue to operate as a separate brand, retaining all employees, and will work closely with Flipkart to further develop technology solutions in the travel segment.
Well, moving on to our second segment, I have with me someone who has been in the EV space, specifically in the battery space. When you talk about batteries, we think about Battery Smart, and we have Pulkit Khurana. Thank you very much, Pulkit, for joining us today on the Daily Dispatch. I want to begin by asking you about your recent round of funding. February 21 is when you did raise some funds amid this pandemic. What has been the fund utilization plan and the aim of this fundraise?
Good morning, Priya. Thanks for having me here. We did raise a seed round from Orias Ventures. There were also some angels who participated in this round. We disclosed this Feb 2021, but we did raise it late 2020. As it is an ongoing round, we have not yet disclosed all the details and the other investors that have been coming in. The fund utilization is primarily towards tech development and building our team, the core team, which can enhance our supply as well as get demand for our platform. And that is what we have been very focused on since the beginning.
I believe that you have about 25 battery swapping stations in Delhi at this point in time, and you are looking at an aggressive expansion plan. So what is the kind of expansion plan, and will this include multiple cities as well?
So we are only focused on Delhi NCR for at least this year. We plan to be at least 300 locations by end of year with a capacity to serve around 10,000 electric vehicles. This would include two-wheelers, three-wheelers, as well as the cargo vehicles. We are now live at 27, so opening almost 1 to 2 locations every week, which would really ramp up going from 1st of May as we build our team. But plan to be at 300 locations, and we should be good to serve around 10,000 electric vehicles just in Delhi NCR. Post that, we will expand to other territories, primarily Northern India first, which is the biggest area where e-rickshaws are concentrated. As you are aware that e-rickshaws almost constitute 80% of the EVs in India. So that is our primary target market for now that we have been focusing on, but being ready for two-wheelers as well as cargo vehicles that have recently started coming up in electric segment.
The electric vehicle space at this point in time is not that big. Of course, there are a significant chunk of vehicles, but it's not as large as the general auto market. So in that sense, do you think that this category will still take some time to develop before you really reap the benefits of this business?
So you're partially correct when we look at, say, electric four-wheelers, right? The annual sales volume is less than 5,000 vehicles as of now. It would take time to pick up as the charging infra gets developed, price parity comes into picture. But when you look at three-wheelers and two-wheelers, we are very rapidly growing. We already have 2.5 million vehicles on the road. That's not a small number. And we are adding another million every year, despite the pandemic. So when you look at three-wheelers and two-wheelers, it's already a very booming market in India. It has been ignored when it comes to EVs, especially setting up of charging infra to cater them, and they had to rely on unorganized sectors and just park and charge anywhere they could. But with Battery Smart, we are trying to address that problem. Completely eliminate any kind of charging requirements. All you need to do is come at a station, swap your batteries under a minute, and then go about running your vehicle again. We're bringing electric vehicles at par with how they used to behave when they were running on IC engines. You go to a petrol pump, fill it under a minute, and then you go about running the next 100, 200 kilometers, right?
But what is the revenue model that you're working with at this point in time? And are you looking at a more concentrated revenue model where you have a subscription-based model that goes through for all the people who want to be on your network?
We are a completely subscription-based platform. When a driver or a vehicle signs up with us, they pay us on a subscription basis. But it is partially linked to how much they are running and how much they are using. To keep it very simple in terms of communication, because this is a newer segment. Also, the target market that we are dealing with, the e-rickshaw drivers, are not very educated. So we wanted to keep it very simple. That's why our pricing schemes are quite simple. It's pay per use as you swap, or it's pay per day and you can run unlimited kilometers. But when we work with fleet operators, we do a kilowatt hour based pricing, which is how much energy you consume, you pay according to that. Because fleet operators or companies are capable of understanding that. But it would take some time before all the drivers and the whole sector gets educated. So we have kept a very simple pricing model for them.
But when you talk about a simple pricing model, also we're talking about profitability at this point in time. You have several costs involved, right? From setting up a center to setting up infrastructure for charging and having those many spare batteries available with you at a certain point in time. So is that difficult? Is that a challenge for you? Do you see that as a challenge in terms of, how do you achieve that kind of profitability if you have so many fixed costs?
That's a great question, Priya. That has been the question that the industry has been trying to answer for a long time, and which has been a detriment for people to set up this charging infra. The chicken and egg problem: how do you invest in charging infra when there are not enough EVs? So the two things that we are doing to solve that: one, we targeted electric rickshaws because there are already 2 million of them on road. The second is we are a completely asset-light model. We don't own any batteries, we don't own any real estate, and we do not deploy any manpower to operate these stations. We are a completely asset-light platform where small shopkeepers come on board and set up a swap station. They manage it on their own using our tech platform, using our mobile app that we provide them. Battery leasing companies and OEMs come on our platform and deploy batteries, which can be put into vehicles. We only manage the tech platform to enable this ecosystem, to ensure that demand and supply mapping can happen. And as you rightly pointed out, to minimize the number of batteries that would be required in the network, because only then profitability could be achieved. So we are doing both those things. As a large operator and large procurement entity who is buying so many batteries, we have the best prices available to us in India when we come to procurement of batteries. And because it is a decentralized network, there are no real estate and manpower costs.
When you look at the roadmap going forward, will you also be looking at this kind of swap for four-wheelers, considering that now there are an increasing number of four-wheelers also that are EV four-wheelers which people are going for? So is that something that's in your roadmap going forward?
It is definitely in our roadmap. We are looking at the technologies that are coming up which could do swapping for four-wheelers. It is a very nascent technology. It has worked very well in China, a company called NIO, who is doing million plus swaps for four-wheelers. The number of four-wheelers is very small in India as of now. As I said, less than 5,000 being sold in a year. So we would wait for those numbers to grow up and then probably start offering swapping for four-wheelers, which would be robotic swapping, where a vehicle can come and park and underbelly swapping can happen. This is something that has happened in China. This is something that was experimented earlier in Israel and US as well. So the technology exists. There has to be enough demand for it before we go out and set this up. So probably 2 to 3 years down the line, we would be really exploring that also as an offering under Battery Smart.
Talk to us about the kind of competition that's there in this market. At this point, we are hearing of a multiple number of battery swappers in the market, across on a pan-India basis. So how do you fit yourself against competition? Because it's the same product that everyone's offering, right?
Correct. Very good question. Again, this is a very large market, right? we are just at the crisp of this beginning. As all EVs by 2024 or 2030, as government is planning, at least 30 to 40% of them should be electrified. This would be a very, very huge market, and one company cannot serve all these EVs, right? Everyone is taking a different approach on how we are trying to address the same problem. So some companies are manufacturing batteries as well as chargers and then deploying them. Some are doing it in a very capital intensive way. They are controlling their swap stations, the manpower, and operating them on their own. Some are only focused on a particular segment of four-wheelers. What we are trying to do at Battery Smart is being very agnostic in terms of our model. So our batteries are interoperable. We can do two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four, and cargo vehicles with the same batteries. We are asset light, and we are not into manufacturing anything. So our intention is to scale as fast as possible, because we really think if there is a deep network, the adoption will also happen faster, right? Let's say you were to buy a two-wheeler. If you knew that there is a swap station in every square kilometer, you would be very happy to come on a two-wheeler. But until then, you still think of how to charge it and where to charge it, right? So we're trying to solve the scale problem rather than getting into manufacturing or being capital intensive in terms of deploying manpower or real estate. So that is the differentiator for us.
A final question before I let you go on revenue targets as well as the road to profitability. Wanted to understand both, what kind of targets do you have for the next financial year? And in terms of profitability, how far are we from profitability?
So on a transactional level, we are already contribution margin positive. On the gross level, we are targeting 10 million of run rate revenues by end of this year. And we are already capitalized to achieve our 2021 goals, which is 10,000 capacity network through 300 stations in NCR and achieving these revenue targets.
All right. On that note, thank you very much, Pulkit, for joining us on this edition of the Daily Dispatch. It's been a real pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks a lot, Priya. Really enjoyed talking to you.
Well, time now to say goodbye. Many thanks for joining us on this edition of the Daily Dispatch. I'll catch you next week on Monday, 5 p.m. Goodbye and have a safe weekend.